Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 12 p.m. Eastern session of Speaker Co-working. I'm Angela Lewis, Head of Operations here at SpeakerHub. We have Maria, who's our Head Designer at SpeakerHub, and Ron will be here as well. We are excited about this call. Every day we talk to speakers from around the world who are looking to use speaking to grow their businesses. And so excited about our call today and looking forward to hearing from our members about wins and answer any questions they may have. So we still have a few more people coming in, but does anyone have wins? Would anyone like to share anything that has any new updates, whether it's over the past week? We've talked about the surveys. Has anyone had any more survey responses? How are things going?
So we've had a win as far as emails go, because before we were sending them out and they were all getting blocked. Now we're starting to see responses come in, and so we're starting to pick up momentum now. So very excited.
Thanks, Michelle. That is, picking up momentum is always a good thing, and glad those emails are working. What did you all do differently?
So we changed where the email is coming from to an actual Gmail account. We created a Gmail separate, and that seems to be working better because the annmcneil.com is still going to spam or is blocked. So we're still working on getting that resolved, but coming from that other email, it's going through.
Thanks, Michelle. Thank you for that. That's one thing we get asked a lot about. Should you use a Gmail account or should you use your own email account with your domain? And we highly recommend using Gmail because Google trusts Gmail as well as Microsoft. We have some more people that popped in. John Cartes, AJ, Nicole, Christy. Christy, I think is this your first time joining us? Christy Odo. Anytime someone is new, we give them a chance to introduce themselves and let us know about them and their business, if you don't mind. I think this is your first time.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Been here a couple of times, yeah.
Okay, well, welcome back. Welcome back. Lawrence, welcome. Any other wins? With Michelle, the emails are going out. Any other wins?
Well, a win I have is I got an email back from a school in New York where the way it happened was I emailed one of the staff members there and I asked them, do you guys have events where someone like me would be needed? And they were like, yes, we would love that. Here's the contact for the person who specifically handles that stuff.
That is wonderful.
Yeah, and the context, since I live in Philadelphia, I can be in New York within a half hour.
So close. So close. Thanks, Lawrence. Congrats on that. Sometimes, Lawrence brings up a really good point. Sometimes the person you reach out to may not be the one who is the decision maker.
Yeah.
And so if you ask a simple email like Lawrence said, are you the one who handles it? Or are you all looking for this? They connect you to someone. It's important to follow up there.
Yeah. And
thanks, Lawrence.
Little add-on there too is that when I'm emailing them, I always ask, well, firstly, are you guys looking? Because if you're looking, that already answered the question of you guys do this kind of stuff. Or just simply saying, well, who handles this? Because it opened the door for here's their contact.
Absolutely. Thank you, Lawrence. Thank you for that. Any other wins? Bart is here now. Kevin, how are things going on your side?
I have a win, whereas I will be speaking to approximately 75 minority college prep kids about their future and actually about how to communicate and how to speak publicly.
Okay, congrats. How did that come about?
That came about through the Toastmaster competitions that I do. I am currently going to the district finals competition next month. So they see me speak and they say, "Hey, can you speak to these kids for us?" And I said, "Sure."
Thanks, Kevin. Very excited. Do you have products as well that they may purchase?
Not
You know, we're
yet.
all about products over here, Kevin. You know that was coming next.
I know, I
You knew
know.
that was coming.
I also have a couple of the interviews lined up, and I have a couple of emails lined up as well. So, but I
Okay.
do not have products. It's kind of seems like it's an either or. I'm fighting to have time to create and do both.
What did Nicole say? That I can help you? I can
And
help
I
you get a
might
quick
need
one.
her help. Yes,
Oh,
Nicole,
that's why we're here. We're here to connect.
I will take all help from anybody.
We are definitely here to connect. John, how are things going on your side?
Life is good over here in the hood. Got a lot of good stuff going. What I have been doing that's been really cool is all of the pitches I've been making. I've been getting some emails coming back with um, I'm out of the office, please
Mhm.
contact this person if you really need them. So I've been grabbing those name and contacts and been putting those names in my CRM as well. Because what I've been doing is putting people in my CRMs when I get any response so I can put them on a 10-week campaign to further let them know what I do and, kind of educate them on who I am. So I'm not just pitching and just doing regular follow-ups. I'm throwing people on campaigns so they can see my face and learn more about me and my message, months away. So that's been really cool, getting some feedback from that.
John, will you talk a little bit more about your campaign and the software you're using and how you're doing your campaigns?
Yeah,
Because for some people, they just may not be doing this. So they're sending emails, but how do you keep them engaged? The whole point of gathering the leads is to keep people engaged with you and to be able to nurture those relationships.
well, yeah, I've been using ActiveCampaign, and I'm coming from years of CRM lead management stuff. I actually started doing CRM work back in the 2000s. You guys see my screen here?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is ActiveCampaign, and I have a bunch of contacts in here that every time that I get an actual new lead or like I said, a response from SpeakerHub, I'm throwing them into one of these campaigns here. These campaigns are basically automation systems inside of here. Like for instance, mapping near your college years is what I'm doing for a lot of colleges that I'm marketing to. Probably around close to 2,000 contacts that are currently on these campaigns. But basically, I have emails going out where they get an introduction email from me on who I am. Then every 7 days, they're going to get something for the next 10 weeks. Short emails, just, John Diggs, mind mapping is very powerful for student bodies for X, Y, and Z. Please contact me for more information. So I got so many different campaigns that I'm sending out to so many people. I think currently I'm sending close to 4,500 people that are on
Mhm.
campaigns that I'm sending out to. So I recommend to people that, when you pitch, uh, just don't leave it to chance like that. I mean, a pitch or some kind of response, even an out of office email, I'm taking that as a warm lead now, not just necessarily a cold lead. So I'm just keeping them in my database until they unsubscribe or tell me to kick rocks or pound sand. I'm just going to keep sending them stuff,
Mhm.
letting them know that I'm here. Because what I did find is that there are possibilities that they may have some speakers at events that may cancel or drop out or can't make the event for whatever reason. And they may be looking for another speaker last minute to come in and sub. And I definitely want
Mhm.
my name and face in front of them, as often as possible. So I highly recommend everybody get some kind of lead management system or CRM or something that you can start building your contacts with. And And what I also did, I'm a Chat GPT guy. That Chat GPT seems like knows me better than my mom right now. But so I go in and say, hey,
Yeah.
this is the event that I'm trying to do. Give me 10 nurturing emails that I can send to them over the next 10 weeks. And Chat just spits it all out for me, and I just cut and paste them into templates that I have in my CRM. And yeah, so that's just
So creating the content now is so much easier because you have access to free tools that will allow you to just craft those emails and put them in campaigns.
Right. So I'm just not just saying hi and you don't need me. All right, bye. I'll talk to you 3 months or next year. I'm taking those as opportunities to develop those relationships.
Yep. Well, thanks, John. Thanks for going through that. There are a couple questions in the chat. Christy will take care of you since you're in the UK. It's a different link, but don't worry. We'll make sure that you get that. Then Sayron said, did you send me the list of links that needs to be downloaded on my speaker platform? Sayron, what do you mean by the list of links that needs to be downloaded on your speaker platform?
You remember back then the form that it was a couple of meetings before. It was me and a couple of others that we request. It's like the Excel sheet, the long list. That Ron said the form. When I did, we filled the form so we can get like the leading form.
The specific leads.
Yeah. I've been asking about it. I never got it.
Yeah, so Sayron, I have that list actually ready for both you and Bart. I just want to clarify because once we pull those leads, we don't want to do the work twice. So I went over the forms for you and Bart, and I think Lawrence also sent me one over. So, but we'll get that to you. I just want to clarify that it's the right people. I know for Bart, I know his audience very well, but if we're pulling based on whatever product you're serving or whatever product or service you're trying to offer, I want to make sure that the leads are correct because we don't want to have to redo it and do the work.
I agree with you.
Different times.
I agree with you. Yeah, I'm still behind with the survey and the product and the recording. I haven't done none of that. I know the recording is not ready yet for the training, but we'll talk later. But thank you very much.
Yeah, no, but that's a good lead in. So a lot of everyone who has SpeakerHub Pro, if you have a lifetime account with SpeakerHub Pro, depending on which level you're at, you're entitled to 1,000 or 2,000 custom leads from us. Now, I know it's exciting to get new things because this isn't about Saran, this is overall. I want to make sure that I'm not just talking to Saran, I'm talking to overall. We get excited about new things because they feel like progress, right? But new things that won't be useful in the future because we haven't done the surveys or we don't know exactly who our target audience is, we would be wasting those leads, right? So I'll give you a great example. I was in a particular business where I thought I could help college students to become financially independent. Well, I misunderstood that while they need to learn financial principles, they're not the people that can pay me commissions that I can get paid commissions off of when I made their investments because they didn't make a lot of money. So I invested my first 6 to 9 months as a financial advisor trying to sell to people that weren't qualified. So the survey, what that's going to do is it's going to give you the people who have confessed that they have a problem that they're willing to pay, make go away. So now imagine if you said that you wanted to work with lawyers and you survey a couple hundred lawyers, even 50 lawyers, and they gave you referrals to others. From those 50 referrals, there's enough business in that group for you to build your confidence and to probably make $10,000 to $15,000. Now, once you solve those problems for those lawyers in that group and you've made some money from working with them, now that lead list becomes even more valuable because you can say, Ron, I want lawyers that work on personal injury, that have 2 employees, that do at least $500,000 in billing per year. I can go get those. And then now we're cooking with grease, right? But if you tell me, you know, I want to work with teachers, but after you do your survey, you realize you really don't want to work with teachers. You want to work with those lawyers. We're not going to go and pull those leads anymore because we already gave you the 2,000, but you got them prematurely. Does that make sense? So the process that we're going through is really, really, really important because leads for the sake of leads aren't valuable, but qualified leads, right? Remember, we have prospects, suspects, and qualified leads. Qualified leads are what you want. So I want to make sure that the survey is pushing you in the right direction to find out who's the right person or the right organizations for the services you offer, so that you're not just spinning your wheels. Because if you talk to a bunch of people who don't want what you have, that doesn't mean that your product is bad. It means that your targeting is bad. Is that fair? No?
Yep. People are shaking their heads. They're,
Okay, yeah,
they're nodding yes.
Yeah, I apologize, guys. I can't see because I'm on my phone and I have to move. So
yes. No worries. Yep.
yeah, so I'm checking out. I have to check out of I'm traveling, but I have to check out. So I can't see, but I'm just, I want to make sure that that's important because we get excited about a lot of things and it feels like progress, but in reality, it's not. The hard work is the progress. One of my favorite quotes favorite books is by a guy named Ryan Holiday, and it's called The Obstacle is the Way. And what they're saying is the thing that you find to be the hardest is probably the thing you need to do the most.
Yeah.
Right. So the thing that I don't feel like doing on a daily basis is the thing I get up and do right away. Like, dude, I don't feel like doing this. Shoot, let me just go to this meeting. Man, I don't feel like making this call. Let me make this call. Right. So that's what we're trying to make sure that you're doing the work that makes it easier down the road. Now, here's one last thing. Your competition isn't doing the work, right? Your competition isn't doing the work. So hold on one second. Okay.
So for those who missed it,
the
name of the book is The Obstacle is the Way.
The Obstacle is the Way, yeah. So your competition isn't doing the work. What happens, you remember we talked about the dip 2 weeks ago, where we have this optimism, where things are going great. Man, this is going to be the best opportunity ever, right? And then we meet our first obstacle. And we say, man, that looks hard. Let me go try something else. And then you never get out of this infinite loop of pushing through things. So you get to an obstacle, you start over. I'm going to go target somebody else. I'm going to do something else. But that's what your competition is doing. What we want to show you is, no, when you meet that obstacle, push through it so that you can learn the lesson from it.
Yep.
And get the leads and find out who the person is that's willing to pay you. And then you have a huge advantage, right? SpeakerHub has survived, or I should say my companies have survived just by me outlasting people, right? I'm just willing to sit with a problem longer than anyone else. We decided to turn off all signups in March because I knew my competition wouldn't do it. While they're still trying to figure out who they want to serve, I'm willing to stop everything and do what is necessary to do the research so that I can make sure that we have an advantage for the next 5 years, not just this month to keep saying, oh, well, we got 65,000 users. That doesn't matter to me anymore. That used to matter, but it doesn't matter. It matters how many people am I getting put on stages. So we wanted to make sure. I did 290 meetings in March, face-to-face, because I wanted to be an example of what I'm teaching you all, but I also needed to get that research to know how to serve you guys better, right? So we're trying to live it in front of you, but we just do it a little bit faster because we have a larger team. But the principles are the same. Does that make sense, guys?
Yes, sir.
Everyone's shaking their head yes. People are putting
Cool.
in the chat, I agree. Everyone's on board. And some
Cool.
people even said they need to slow down and not get their list now because they haven't done that work.
Yeah, because the leads aren't that valuable if they're the wrong people, right? I don't want to be talking to people I got to convince. Let me give you a great example. If you've ever been out, I know in St. Louis, in the evenings in St. Louis, I would go out, and when I would go out, what would end up happening is I would end up I would end up meeting somebody, and then we would go and grab a hot dog at the stand, at the little what's the thing, the little sausage stand outside. And you know what that guy had? He had a hungry audience, right? He could sell $10 hot dogs that were trash, but everybody was drunk coming out of the bar, right? Now, that's what we really want. We want to find out where's that hungry audience, not just try to sell things to people that may already have what we're offering or may have a different version of it that they're already happy with. So I wish I was in front of my computer, but I'll teach this tomorrow for sure. We're going to talk about the awareness continuum, because some people are problem aware, but they're not product aware, right? You ever had a problem that you wish you could solve, but you didn't know if there was a product out there that solved it? So you go into Amazon and you just start typing in your problem, right? You're like, shoes that are wide foot, right? You just type in goofy things like that. And then what you find is, oh, they do make wide foot shoes, right? So then at that point, you become product aware, right? That's a lot of the market where they have the problem, but they don't know that you exist. The survey uncovers that and then offers your services to them. So we'll talk more about product aware, product unaware, solution aware, all of those things tomorrow, I promise you. And it'll make so much more sense why we want to hold off on the leads, because I want you closing deals. Speaking is the engine that drives the business. It's not the business. Any other questions? Does this make sense? Cool.
Makes sense. Yep. People are shaking their heads. Yes. And then I just found a graphic that talks about unawareness, problem awareness, solution aware, product aware, and then the most aware. So.
Yep, exactly. So, but yeah, any other questions up to this point, guys?
Let's see, in the chat. Oh, AJ just put in the chat, obstacle is the way audiobook on YouTube. Any other questions about
let me make sure I'm not putting another obstacle in the way. One second. I want to make sure I'm not putting another obstacle in the way. The gist of the book is whatever you're running into, just do it, right? So you ain't got to, I got to read another book before I get started. I don't want to do that to you. What I'm saying is that's the gist of the book. You've already read it because I just gave you the 2-sentence book summary. There used to be Cliff Notes when I was a kid. I just gave you the Ron notes. Moral of the story, whatever you're avoiding, push through it and do that thing. I know the surveys is the first part of your business where you are going to run into rejection. All right. Let me just go ahead and put that out there. It's the first time that most of y'all going to run into rejection and somebody telling you that your baby ain't that cute. And we call it ugly baby syndrome. It's when nobody wants to show their kid off because they don't want it to be told, man, one of your kids' eyes is higher than the other one, or, why does he have a hand on his forehead? You're like, wait a minute, don't be talking about my baby like that. Well, that's how we look at our businesses. We treat it like a kid, like it's our baby, and we protect it because we've put our blood, sweat, tears, and money into it. But the problem comes when it meets the market for the first time, and we have to unveil it to the market. The survey will allow you to unveil the market one friend at a time and then let them put makeup on your baby. Okay. My daughter's 3. She loves playing in makeup. I don't know why, but that's what her and her mama do. They play in makeup all day. She got all this stuff on her face 24 hours a day. Now, I got to be willing to deal with that because it's part of the process. Right? It's part of the process of raising a daughter that they're going to do some things that you don't like sometimes. Well, it's part of the process of building the business, getting feedback that we're not going to like sometimes. Does that make sense? Okay. Any other questions about anything pertaining. Here's what I want to do. Ange, can you do this for me?
Sure.
Can we create a list of topics that are business related and that we can cover here in future calls? A lot of
Okay.
what I've been doing has been covering topics that I've discovered in the private conversations with a lot of you guys when we're not talking in a group here. And then I just bring that topic to the stage. Can we kind of make a list today? Ange, if you want to bring up a Google Doc, and let's just write
Okay.
down some topics about a list of topics that we want covered based on where you are. Don't give me a bunch of stuff that you're not dealing with right now, because we wasting time on that. I want the stuff you're dealing with right now that we can cover right now, and it can be an example to the person that you are, you may be 1 or 2 steps ahead of or behind. Is that fair?
All right, let's do it. That's fair. I
So,
have
Ange, if you want to bring
the
up a
Google
Google
Doc.
Doc, and you all can unmute and go ahead and start letting her know topics. And the reason why I want it unmuted instead of in the chat, the people watching on YouTube can't see the chat. So, that's why I'm always asking you all to say something instead of type it in the chat. But go ahead.
All right. What's up? What are some business topics or things that y'all are dealing with in business right now that we can address on the call?
I have a question.
Okay.
So we just got another client signed on to one of our masterminds, and
Okay.
we have a bunch of different resources available. What is the best way to share that with them without overwhelming them? Because we have like free calls, we have landing pages, we have an early risers club. We want them to subscribe to YouTube. There's like a bunch of different things that we want them to do. So what is the best way to share that with them? Yeah, that's it.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Michelle. Someone else, what are you dealing with? No one else
I
is
would put that
dealing with
under
anything?
client onboarding techniques. Ange,
Okay.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I hear you.
Yep. Thank you.
Client onboarding techniques. Okay. Anyone else? I see a few of you all, like I can see the wheels turning in your eyes. Jadika, yes.
Ron talked about branding yourself, and I think that's something I'd like to learn more about, the branding, in terms of people are buying you as the brand and not your product or your business.
Branding yourself aside from your product or business. Okay. Thank you, Jadika. Anyone else? Sayron, I saw something about sales training in the chat, so I just want to bring that up here. Oh, Dr. Meg said personal branding as well. So no, we haven't had sales training yet. At all. So we'll add sales training. Do you have any questions specifically, Sayron, about sales with your business? Or are you asking?
I know it's just in general. Ron talked about it before, so I was wondering if he already done that or not. But if we put it there, it will be great.
Is there a question about sales? So we haven't done sales training, but is there a
No,
question
just
that we
that.
could put
No,
specifically?
no, just the same training that he mentioned. Yeah, if we can do that in future, that's good. Yeah.
Okay, so how to sell you effectively? So then it's more question. How to brand yourself. Okay. Some of you all mentioned that you were going to hold off on the survey. Hold off for getting leads to get more surveys. Are there any questions about the survey process or how to contact people?
No, I just need to do it. I haven't done it.
Oh,
I've been
okay.
having we have some drama here at work. Yeah, I just need to do it. Yeah. Thank
Okay.
you.
You're welcome.
Angela,
Bonnie, you look.
yeah,
No, I saw you about to say something. No worries.
you can see me like, ah,
Yes.
Just listening, having listened to Ron about the obstacle is the way, and how we sometimes go in different directions and try stuff and say, oh yeah, that didn't work, and not really push through that. I feel like I've set myself up really well in that situation a couple of times.
Okay. We all do it.
Yeah,
Okay, Bonnie. We all
but
do.
I didn't necessarily think about, or the survey wasn't available to me at that point, and the thought about how much to continue to try to work through that hadn't specifically. I was working with dentists because dental anxiety is such a big deal for a lot of people. And it used to be a really big problem for me. And what I found, without the effectiveness of the survey, but what I found with connecting with dentists and attempting to connect with them, that it didn't seem like too many of them really wanted to focus on the extra that it takes to help anxious dental patients, and like maybe work through a program for helping to train their people to work better with anxious dental patients. And I kind of went, well, okay, in another direction. And now really looking at human resources, because whether we're solopreneurs or work for a big company, every one of us humans is a resource. And
Sure.
some are saying, yeah, I like the ideas that you have, and a lot of like, oh, they're not going to go for something that seems woo-woo, or, isn't typical of what we've already been doing, but what we've already been doing isn't working really well sometimes. So just thinking about the obstacle thing, like how I'm going to put more stick to it with it, and using the survey will help me figure that out better too. So I'm going to hang on to my leads with that as well, because I'm still trying to figure out the right direction. Thanks.
Okay. No, so the question, no, thank you for sharing that, Bonnie. I think a lot of people go through that, especially when you're trying to find your target. You said, so the question that you would like to cover, the business question is, how do you prioritize when you have a lot of possible different markets? So it
Sure.
may be dentists, it may be someone else. How do you prioritize who to go after first?
How to prioritize who to go after, what stick to it looks like.
Okay. So how to prioritize which market when you can serve a few different markets, how do you prioritize which one? And then
Yeah.
prioritize. That is not spelled right.
O-R.
There
you go.
Thank you.
I do that when I type too, always back and forth, back and forth. But yeah,
And then
thanks.
what is the process?
Yeah, what does stick to it looks like? And thanks, Nicole. I see you there, Attorney Nicole. Yeah, to frame it better around, this is a bottom line. This is a bottom line support. That's what it is. When people are happier and calmer and more focused, your bottom line is better, your productivity goes up.
That is not at all what I wanted. So the other question that someone put in the chat was Christy asked about leveraging automation and delegation in business. So how to best leverage automation, similar to kind of what John was showing earlier with his email sequence. And there are other ways to automate, but then how to delegate in business. And Christy, it sounds also like that's a question around team. How do you build a team, or when do you get contractors? Because you don't always need to hire someone full time. Ron talked about this a little bit, maybe a few months ago, about just hiring someone to do one thing versus feeling like you need someone to hire the entire time. Is that kind of what you're asking about team, like how to build and create a team as well? Jadika, your hand is up.
A question that came to mind, because Ron shares this a lot. What AI tools should we use? I mean, how to define which AI tools to use?
Great question. There are many these days.
Yes.
Okay, Tubertus. Let's see, Dr. Sharon or Sharon Brown.
Yeah, pretty much what my, it's not a question per se, but I would say just more so to reiterate that when it comes to business, that it is about the numbers as well. I know Ron has talked about it some in the past. Let's say, for instance, if you're, pinching, 100 may not be enough. You need to do 200 and 300 and things like that. It's like, even though we're building relationships and getting our message out, but just the importance of numbers. And I'll just use me for an example. Even though I know that, but it's just not ingrained because I'm such a personal person. You know what I'm saying? You're like, I'm a social worker, and there's this joke out there. It's like, oh, social workers, they numbers, but just on the business side, like the numbers of pitches that you all do, like when you all do it for other people, are like in the thousand. And I don't think, like, especially for those of us, at least who are like me, who's new, we're like, what is that? So just to, just get not just an understanding, but to reinforce it from time to time.
Got it. So you're asking, what are the important, I heard you say two things. One is, what are the important key performance indicators, those KPIs, to know that you're actually moving toward your goals? So we're talking about business overall, from sales to marketing. What are those key performance indicators? And then specifically with pitching, what are the numbers that everyone should know about their business in terms of getting booked? So more specifically is getting booked, which is kind of more of a sales question. So there's the overall numbers of the business, and then there's the specific numbers for sales or things that you may look at for marketing in terms of open rate and conversion rates, those types of.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. And then Nicole put something in the chat that I thought was valuable, worth adding, building on what Jadika asked, what AI tools should we use? But also, she mentioned how to effectively use AI. So it's one thing to know the tools, then it's how do you effectively use them. For example, with ChatGPT, you need a great prompt. The prompts matter. What you're asking matters. So we can say use ChatGPT. Well, yeah, but you're not going to get what you're looking for if you don't prompt it correctly.
Hey, Angela.
Yes.
I
Hi, Curtis.
have one thing, kind of like, where's the milestones? It's
Okay.
how I would name it. Because we're looking at a lot of different tools, but when do we need certain tools? Like, what size should we be at? Okay, we can use a CRM. We can use that like kind of like day one or whatever. And then when should we be looking at getting a virtual assistant? When should we look at adding certain like direct mail, like promoting and stuff like that? Like kind of like the basic phases that has been seen for speakers over the past X amount of years, that, hey, you really don't need this as an emergent speaker. You need to focus on this, kind of like how you're doing the flywheel of one-on-ones to podcasts to associations and so on. Kind of like, what's that step look like? So we're not paying for like all these AIs that we really don't need right now, because our scope is super small. So like, save money and put it where it actually matters, rather than get all the tools and not even have to use 90% of them.
Sure. No, great question. How to know when to buy what software and when to use it.
Right.
Really great. What are the milestones and benchmarks for growth?
Right. Where's the milestones? That's why I named it that.
Yep. Great question. These are really, really great questions. Anything else? I mean, we talk a lot on these calls every day. Any questions about selling from the stage, converting your podcast interviews or your associations? Product development. I know Jasmine and Kevin, we've talked about writing books. Do y'all know how to do that? Is that something that would be valuable to know about, like the product development? We talk about products. Is there any questions around product development?
I've written one, Angela, but I would love to, do even better with my next one. That's how to, what's tools to use or processes that people have chosen. I'd like more information on books, please.
To piggyback on
I
that,
agree with Bonnie.
yes, self-publishing is probably a major thing that we're trying to do because there's so many businesses out there that want to charge us thousands and thousands of dollars when I know it doesn't cost that much to do what they want to do for us, So self-publishing is probably something we might need or want a resource as a resource.
And Angela, to add to that,
Yes.
if we're going to do self-publishing and with products, what are the platforms that we should be using, to effectively market our products? If we're going to do it like, if we're going to do self-publish or self-promote.
I think that's what our speaking is for. That's what they keep telling us our
sorry.
speeches
Someone
are for,
whispered
right?
SpeakerHub is a great platform to market your product.
And
That's
there
coming
are,
in the future.
there are
Definitely. I agree with that.
Sorry. There are the self-publishing publishers, which is what I used in my first. I didn't go with a publishing house. I didn't do it all by myself. I used a really, really smart and effective Denver self-publishing publisher. It was really helpful, but I'm just not sure if that's the way to go next time or not. So thanks for this subject.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, this is a subject that would interest a lot of people. As you know, Angela, you and I've had 2 meetings on this. So I have 3 books and I want to get them out there and working on 2 more.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure we can help you with that. We have some expertise internally can help with that.
So I can have them on SpeakerHub site.
Yes, that is definitely the plan.
Yeah.
And the goal. Anyone else? We've talked some about other products, courses. How many who have courses? We've talked about
Courses should expand on courses because we are going to be also, loading on the new platform for SpeakerHub. So courses as well. I'm working on my course as well. And the best way to have that set up. And I think Ron you guys should discuss the proper pricing for course. And I think yesterday, Angela, you said we can go to Udemy and find out, for your specific subject.
Yes, you can see kind of what the market rate is or what people are charging. There are no rules though. You don't have to abide by what's listed there, but you can at least get an idea of how many modules they have and kind of the setup for courses. Specifically within your industry, your niche, you kind of see what the competition is doing. There's always value in that.
I'm really grateful that SpeakerHub is offering this, putting our courses out on our platforms. I'm really excited about that, and that you guys help us get it organized the way we saw the flashes of the front of the courses that you did, Angela, a couple days ago. I was like, ooh, I need to know how to do that. Yeah, that's great. Thanks.
You got it.
I also support what Bonnie said. I mean, that's a whole relief for me in terms of being able to have the platform available. The next thing is effectively marketing your courses, how to market them effectively to get that target market that will be interested in purchasing your course or learning from your course.
Effectively market your courses to garner interest. and sales. Perfect.
Hear ye, hear ye.
Hi, Bonnie. What's your question? Janessa asked how to ensure you are on track with your goals, long-term vision, and what should your checklist look like? Okay, that's a good question. Long-term vision. What should your checklist look like? Okay. Anyone else? These are really great questions. Other questions? We've talked marketing, we've talked sales, we've talked a little product development. No, nothing else? Okay, if you think of something, let us know. Let me review the chat one more time to make sure I didn't miss anything. Kevin said, looks like a pretty full list. Get better with AI. How to use AI most effectively. Nicole, what was your comment in response to? You said they will care if you can show them how it can increase their bottom line. It may not be that it's not an important problem, but needs to be framed better. What was that in response to?
That was to an earlier question about the lady who was talking about she helps with anxiety in the dental office.
Mm-hmm.
And I was saying that it may not be that that they don't need it. It may just not be framed well. Because if you can extrapolate that to show where they're missing money, where there's a mark, where they're leaving money on the table or not fully helping their people and it affects their bottom line, then they'll care. But if you just tell them we're trying to help with anxiety and you don't really you don't frame it in a way that they see it as a problem that needs to be solved, then they won't buy it.
Got it. So maybe a question, thank you for that, for clarifying. A question that I'll add to the list is how to effectively frame your offers to show the value and problem that you're solving. Great, thank you for adding that. Okay, what'd you say, Bonnie?
That's a whole other big enchilada of a topic right there.
It is.
It's great. Thanks.
You're welcome. Integration of SpeakerHub page to my website and coaching. Okay, we can add that. Oh, SpeakerHub specific questions. Thank you for bringing that up, Christy. Are there SpeakerHub specific questions related to your business? So Christy asked, well, how to integrate SpeakerHub page to our website and coaching. Good question. And we talk a lot about wanting you all to have everything in one place and not all over the place. So we keep creating new things that we find that you all ask for and ask about, so that things are seamless. From being able to upload the leads, that function didn't exist before. The people asked about it. So now you can upload leads and you can send pictures from there. The QR code, that functionality didn't exist months ago. So all these little things so that everything can be in one place. Chantel, how are you? Any questions on your side that we can answer? We know you've been on TV, walking into universities, you've been TV shows, books. For Chantel. Larry, how are you? How are things on your side? Bonnie, yes.
I'd love to ask Chantel in all her free time if she'd come on and give us a tutorial on all that cool stuff she's got rocking on. I'd like to know more.
Is there anything specifically you'd like to know about? Because she's mentioned a lot. how to prep for the TV shows? Is there anything like specifically that you're wondering? Or you just want to hear our wins? Both are valuable.
Yeah, wins are good because there's always good information in the back of those too, and maybe that would help target the deeper conversation. Just a thought. Thanks.
Okay. Great. So we have 4 minutes to the top of the hour. I'm going to run through the list again. If you all have any additional questions, let me know. And you can see the first one is an onboarding, client onboarding technique. So we will segment them based on topic. So here we are. List of speaker co-working topics. What is the best way to share the resources with your clients without overwhelming them? So Michelle asked this, once someone agrees to be your client, what happens next? How do you share all of the resources to ensure that they have what they need, but not feel overwhelmed? How to brand yourself aside from your product or business. Because as we've talked about before, you may have different businesses, but you will always be you. How to sell effectively, how to prioritize which target market to serve first, as if there are a number of different types of people that you can serve. What's the process for sticking to it? How to best leverage automation, how to delegate in business, how to know when to hire people, what AI tools should we use, how to use the AI tools most effectively. It's kind of a part 2 of that question. What are the important KPIs to know that you are moving toward your goals? What are the numbers that everyone should know about their business in terms of getting booked? For example, how many pitches should you send? What are the milestones? This one was from Cartis. When do we need certain tools? What are the basic phases that have been seen for speakers to know what to focus on? What tools or processes have people chosen for publishing books? What is the self-publishing process? If you're going to self-publish, what are the platforms that you should use to effectively market your book and process, your book and products? What is the difference between a self-publishing publisher versus traditional publisher? How to effectively create courses? What are the best ways to have them set up? What is the proper pricing for courses? How to, sorry about that. How to effectively create a course. Oh no, I just went through that one. Okay, how to effectively market your courses to garner interest and sales. How to ensure that you're on track with your goals and long-term vision. What should your checklist look like? How to effectively frame your offers to show the value and the problem you're solving, and how to integrate the SpeakerHub page into website and coaching. So those are all of the questions so far. If you all have other questions, we'll keep this as a running document like we always do. We're always gathering ways that we can support you all. So if you think of something, feel free to email me, Angela@speakerhub.com, or if you have my cell phone number, send me a text. If anything else comes up, let me know. And we can continue to add to this list tomorrow and the ongoing days. I'll always have it up in the background. So anything else before we go? No? All right, call to action. Your call to action today is to be aware of any problems that you may have or questions that you may have, and then come back and let us know, because we want to be able to help you all not feel stuck and to get past the obstacles that are the way. All right, thanks everyone. If we have nothing else, we'll see y'all tomorrow.